One. Okay, I think I did it. Sweet.
Awesome.
So we're here. I think we're recording. Welcome, Kelsey. Any grandkids that are watching this in the future? Any great, if it even makes it anywhere other than our computer. But yeah, I love these conversations we've been having, and we were just talking off the recording a second ago. I've been loving to start these little recordings with a question, and it sort of helps be a springboard to see where it takes us. Who has been inspiring you recently? Like whether it be somebody in your life, like in your family or your close friend circle, or even somebody like online.
Honestly, I've been taking great inspiration from Marie Kondo. I've been completely reorganizing everything I own, just taking this time to completely purge. I was cleaning out my bathroom the other day. I was like, I've got expired makeup that I never use. I need to get rid of it. I need to just purge. And I feel so much better. Like, I understand her concept now that cleaning makes you feel better once it's actually clean.
Yeah.
So
what is it? I don't know if I know her. What's her name? Maria?
Marie Kondo.
Marie Kondo.
She has a show on Netflix, and I don't know what it's called. I don't remember the name of it. But basically, she has this theory that you should go through all your stuff and then say, does this give me joy or does this not give me joy? And if it doesn't, then you throw it away or you give it away. And that method has just really been giving me a peace and a calm about my surroundings because, we're stuck in quarantine right now, but that doesn't mean my surroundings have to stress me out.
Yeah, I hear that. Like I've heard about that idea before, and it's one of those things where like I'll hear about something like that, but not actually go and do it, which is so funny. But there is that correlation. That reminds me of Jordan Peterson, who I've listened to a little bit on YouTube, and he talks about cleaning your room. Same idea, I would think. It's so funny because so many of us, myself included, want to fix all these problems out in the world and make a difference in all those things. And it's like, well, if you can't make a difference in your own house, let alone bedroom, cleaning up a little bit, how it might be tough to go fix like big problems out in the world. Like maybe start with the small things and build up from there. So what is it about this Marie that inspires you? Just like the idea of it? Or I'm not familiar with her, so is it like she's inspiring in the way that she just has like cool ideas to share? She's like living her life?
I guess it's just like the way she thinks about things. She's such a positive energy in the world, and that's just something I aspire to be, something I aspire to show other people, like this positive energy that, even if you're just cleaning out one drawer or, you go to a church or you go to a function, like a family event, then you can still radiate positive energy for other people.
It's crazy how like one drawer really makes a difference.
It does.
It sounds so silly saying that, but it really does. Those subtle things like cleaning up. I feel that like I avoid cleaning up, and then when I actually just tidy up, it is a perfect reflection, right? Like the outside reflecting the inside.
Right.
Which yeah, there's definitely a lot to talk about on that subject. For sure. So tell me, I know you're telling me a little bit about this a minute ago, but tell me a little bit more about the different projects you have going on right now with sharing your positive messages for your peers and people your age.
Absolutely. So I'm a part of Girl Scouts, and I'm also currently holding the title of Miss Greater Teen. And through these organizations, I am able to have a platform that I focus in on for service work. And I really tried to focus on mental health, especially in teens, just because it's something that's so, so important to me that impacted my life. And hopefully I can use my experiences to benefit other people. Right now, of course, I'm predominant on social media since I'm supposed to be staying at home. But in the past, I've been speaking at high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools. And I also do a little seminar for teachers on what to look for and how to help a student in your class that may have a mental disorder such as depression or anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, in your experience, when did some of these challenges start to pop up? I know you briefly mentioned middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really just out of nowhere it kind of popped up, or was it a gradual thing in your experience of bullying starting to come into the picture?
For me, it was very sudden, very like out of the blue. I just began to get bullied. And from there, I think I started to see the world for the way it is, in that, you know, it's not always going to be good. Like there are bad things that happen in the world. And I do think that started to affect me. I just had one thing hit me after another. Like the year after I was bullied so badly, my grandmother died of ovarian cancer, and that was really hard on me because she was like a second mom to me. She played the piano and she encouraged me to start the violin, which I still play today. But we really had a strong, almost spiritual connection with each other. So that really hurt when she passed away. And then, middle school, of course, is difficult for everyone, but, just trying to get through it, and even going to high school and not being able to find a group that I felt like I fit into. Which, of course, I really don't think groups are necessary. But even just thinking about I don't know. I guess high school and middle school are just stepping stones. And there's just something you have to get through. And, here recently I've realized that yes, I've been through difficult situations. Yes, I have had a lot of experience with depression and anxiety myself, but I can't let that hold me back as a person. And I can't let that hold me back from growing into the person that I need to be.
Mm-hmm. So how recent has it been that you've experienced what you've experienced and then now have this calling or a platform to say, you know what, I actually want to take this and wield this into something where I can actually give back on this? Like, was that something, or how long ago did you maybe start realizing, like, you know what, I actually want to talk about this and really actually speak about it? I'm
I
sure that
think,
wasn't an overnight just thing, like, oh, now I'm gonna do this. Like, maybe that was a gradual,
right.
or maybe it was overnight. I don't know.
Well, of course, I started with just putting out positive messages on one of the Instagrams that I made, just so maybe one person can see it and have hope for that one day. I guess to me, it doesn't really matter about numbers. It just matters, if I can change one person's life or make one person smile for 2 seconds, then it'll all be worth it. And I guess about 2 years ago is when I really started trying to see what else I could do, because I was like, it's great that I want to make people smile, but I wonder how much I could really change someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I started posting more about mental health and how you can cope with different things. And, you know, I feel blessed because I've been able to become this person that other people feel comfortable talking to about their own experiences. And that is something that's so special to me, that people trust me with the deepest, darkest things in their life. And if I could just help that person for one night, get through that one night or get through that 1 month, then I don't know. It's a feeling that I've never gotten anywhere else. And I just feel like I found something that right now is my purpose.
Mm. Mm. What just popped up for me, other than that's absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure not only me but many other people appreciate what you're up to, so that's amazing.
Well,
And
thank you.
yeah, I mean, on top of that, what popped up was, I think this is the quote. It goes along the lines of turning your pain into your purpose. When you said the
Mm-hmm.
word purpose, I was like, oh, and it's funny how that is. It's like, oh, this suffering and these anxiety and heavy weight of life that sometimes creeps up on people, whether it be sudden or gradual. It's funny how that might be the catalyst or the thing that ends up being your medicine, the thing that you're actually
Right.
giving back with, which I'm sure at the time it might not seem that way, like, oh, one day I'll be teaching this. Nope. I'm just trying to get through lunchtime in middle school, actually.
Honestly.
Mm-hmm. So you've started talking at schools? That's
I
pretty cool.
have.
What's that been
Yes.
like?
It's been very interesting, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Different schools have different responses, but,
Mm-hmm.
you know, almost every single school that I've been to, one kid comes up to me and says, "Hey, I've really been struggling with this," or "I feel like I'm not worth anything," which absolutely breaks my heart to hear someone that may be going through a similar experience that I had. Um, but it also gives me that opportunity to connect with that person on another level and, figure out what exactly is going on and getting the help that they need. Um, I had one young man at a middle school talent show that I went to. I went to judge, but they let me talk a little bit about my platform and what I'm doing. And he came up to me, and the theme was knowing your worth, which I think is so, so important for especially middle schoolers. But the theme was about, I just talked a little bit about how the school gets paid $2.19 every day that you come to school, which is why they encourage so heavily, perfect attendance. Like, make sure you come every day, even if you're sick, because the school gets money from the government. And just teaching these kids that, you're worth way more than, what some school tells you that you're worth. You're worth so much more than what your bully tells you you're worth. You may not think that you're worth anything at all, but you're here in this life, in this area, in this situation for a purpose. And going back to that, your purpose is your pain, or your pain is your purpose, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking about how these kids, whatever they're going through, it's for a reason. And I honestly believe that. And he came up to me and he told me that my speech didn't apply to him, which was absolutely devastating to hear. But just talking to him and getting to know him and making sure that he was going to be safe that night. And of course, I went to his guidance counselor, and he's in a much better place now. I'm very happy to report. Of course, I don't know all the specifics, but knowing that I was in the right place at the right time for him
Mm,
specifically.
mm, yeah. Yeah, it's like you never know who's listening. And for me,
Right.
having been a musician for a little bit, that's something that I think about. It might have been Bruce Springsteen that said it could be somebody's first show or somebody's last show.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, being at the right place at the right time, you never know who's listening. So your voice, your message could land and touch somebody when you don't even know who's sitting in the back row that really might need you to lean into that and be brave and vulnerable. It's so
Right.
funny how you being vulnerable or anybody being vulnerable, it opens up the conversation. It's the conversation starter. Just someone has to say it first. Maybe it wasn't that young man that day, and you kind of just broke the ice for that conversation to happen. It's like boom, that's beautiful.
And I guess one quote that kind of resonated with me, I don't remember who said it, but you can't control the hand that you are dealt, but you can control how you choose to react to it.
Mm,
And I guess that is always what I've tried to keep in the forefront of my mind. It's just, you know, it what happened to me wasn't ideal by any means, but I can take that and use that to someone else's benefit, or I can take that and I can hopefully help someone and change, maybe even change a mindset or a point of view. And anything that I can do with my past for someone else is number one priority for me.
mm, mm. Yeah, it's like knowing what you know now. Someone else might be going through what you went through, and you might have that bit of information or knowledge or perspective that could just totally alleviate so much unnecessary suffering or
Right.
depression or whatever, however it manifests. Um, what a beautiful thing! Like, it's beautiful to have the belief that everything happens for a reason. Another belief I love to remind myself of is everybody's doing their best. And when I
Mm-hmm.
remember that, that helps a bunch because it gets that judgment part out of me out of the picture. To be like, oh, like this person didn't this or that. And it's like, that's okay. They're doing their best. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if their grandma just passed away or this person's dog passed away, which is so relevant to people's life. Like my grandparents' dog just passed away yesterday, and we were playing to chat, and they didn't call, and I and then found out their dog passed away, and I was like, oh man, like I was thinking they were calling, but they're actually going through this whole other thing I didn't even know about.
Right.
So perspective. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I often like to think that in this world, everyone here is like a giant tapestry. Like
Ooh.
each person is one strand in the tapestry, and we're all woven together and connected in some way, shape, or form. But, if you remove one of those strands, then it's going to completely change that look of the tapestry. So, just, I guess, even just thinking of this world as more than yourself, it's about all of us together and what we can do to help each other.
Mm. That's beautiful. I love that. I
Thank
love
you.
that. Yeah, I mean, it's a great visual and great reminder. Um, it's so interesting. Like, so one of the themes you've chatted about in schools is the not enough,
Mm-hmm.
and what a big thing. Um, there's a song I'm working on right now in the chorus. It says, "You are enough," which really anything that I'm creating nowadays is really reminders to myself because if I forget my own worth, then it sort of trickles out into the rest of the world. And not only could I make a positive difference on someone's life, if I'm not taking care of myself, I could also maybe sort of, I don't know, ruin someone else's day, which I hope I've never done that. But yeah, it's like taking responsibility for my energy and being the best version of myself.
Right.
So knowing that I've been forgetful in my life, something like music or journaling or whatever tool you like to use, they're great reminders for me to not forget these really important things, just basic things. Like you are a little, what was the phrase? The word you use of the
Uh,
tapestry?
a thread of
A
the
thread.
tapestry.
Yes. You are that. You are a thread, one of them. And you're totally integrated and part of this whole picture. And you're part
Mhm.
of it. It doesn't work. You're one of like, you are part of it and connected to all of it, which is so beautiful. I love that. I love that analogy.
And what's
Mm,
even crazier is when you are that one thread in the tapestry, you often look at yourself and you don't see the bigger picture, I guess, you know? And I think sometimes in life we can get caught up in, well, I'm not doing enough, or, you know, going back to what we were saying at the beginning, like, I didn't clean that one drawer, so how could I possibly do this or do that? And I really think it's the small, tiny little things that we do that contribute to this bigger picture that we none of us can see. And maybe we'll see it after we're gone. But right
mhm,
now, we're living in the moment. And I do think it's very difficult to think about things on a grand scheme. But, I try to remember that, everything happens for a reason. And hopefully it contributes to that bigger picture.
mm, mm. What just popped up for me was this guy, Ed Milet, who I've listened to a little bit. Um, he said that self-confidence could come from the promises that you keep to yourself. And in terms of like building momentum in your life, if you like tell yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm going to clean my room. And if you do clean your room, you sort of build this trust with yourself that like, okay, I followed through on something, and like it kind of builds this momentum in a direction maybe you wanted to go in. And if you make an excuse or not do it, that could sort of work against you. It's like, oh, I can't even get myself to clean that one drawer. And then you start
Mm-hmm.
kind of maybe shaming yourself or thinking, oh, I'm a complete loser and not enough. And then it just becomes another day and another day. And then that's a whole thing. So it's like, even though you don't want to clean the drawer sometimes, it's really important to really make it happen.
Right. I
um,
agree.
because if I apply that to my life, there's just been so many times, even now, like it happens where I'll not do that task that I said I was going to do and then didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what that feels like enough that it's super important now that I push through and get those things done. Because I've felt it so much before in the past, where if I avoid something for a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks, then it just builds up and it
Right.
lingers and gets heavy up in your head, where you just need to clean your room, do what you got to do, and yeah, clean it up inside and out.
And, that just reminds me, see, I am a big planner person. I write everything in this book.
Nice.
And if I don't write it down, I know for sure I will not remember it just because that's the type of person I am. And, that's something I did when I was in the depths of my depression is I just wrote down little tiny things that I knew I could accomplish just, even if it's just checking off one tiny little box, like make up my bed that day or put away one pair of shoes. That way, tasks seemed less daunting and, it made me feel better about myself that I could just check off just one of those boxes. And that's a skill that I still have with me today, is that, I'm like, okay, I have 10 worksheets that I need to do for my math class. Even if I can just check off, one or two today, then I'll be okay.
Yeah. It sounds so trivial, but it's big. It's a big deal. And that can be such a big, overwhelming thing to make your bed when things get really tough, if anyone has experienced depression.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which, yeah, I relate to you on that. Like, something as simple as setting the goal of making your bed is like, I did it. And when I think back to times that maybe I've been depressed, um, I don't even have the energy to celebrate that. I'm just like, whew, back to bed. That stuff's real. That's real.
Yes, it
Hmm.
is.
So what you journal, is this a journaling thing? You said it's a planner. Do you also journal in it, like a daily practice, or what tools
Well,
do you like to use to
hmm,
help with all of this?
I used to really enjoy journaling, but recently I've gotten out of practice. But this is just, it has all the days in the month, and then it has a monthly calendar, and then a weekly one, and then a daily one. And so I'll write down anything and everything I'm doing that day. I'll be like, okay, I want to wake up at this time, or I want to go do this at this time, or, if I just had my AP exams recently, cross our fingers that we do well. But, everything that is going on in my life, I like to write it down. So I don't know, just, trying to make sure I plan ahead, that
Yeah,
I can mentally prepare for what's going on the next day.
right, right. That helps. I just realized I have my little planner for the day right here. Can't really see it, but
See, there you go.
yeah, I usually do it in my journal, but I was thinking I could just have a one sheet, a one piece of paper, and I
Hmm.
kind of like it. Last couple of days, I've had just one piece of paper with the day planned. Um, which, yeah, we're right here. We're right here at this part of the day.
There we
Call
are.
3 p.m. with Kelsey, chatting about life. Such a good thing to keep you on schedule. It feels so good to be organized.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Hello.
I'm on call, Dad. Can I?
Here. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Dad, what's happening?
Right now, we are in the process of decorating our backyard, putting some more trees out,
Cool.
making a little patio area so that, it just feels like our little oasis back there.
Cool. Sounds lovely. And
It's so nice. We've had a lot of birds come back into our backyard lately because I don't know, I guess there's just so much less pollution in the area right now from lack of transportation, that all the birds have tended to build
yeah.
their nests in our backyard. But it's so nice to go out there every now and then and just listen to them. It's beautiful.
Mm. Hmm. Mm. Hmm. So what else, if anything, do you feel called to chat about? Is there anything else that inspires you right now? And I guess I could
Hmm.
preface that with I have been having these totally random conversations with people recently over things like Zoom. And I've watched some of myself back talking and I realized that after the conversation like finishes a topic, I'm really quick to jump to something else. And I was talking to this guy, Joshua, who's a breathwork coach, and he teaches people how to breathe properly, and it's just beautiful. And what I learned from that conversation from him is to leave space for silence in between sentences, to just hear your thoughts for a second, let it gather, and then see where you want to go from there. Because I kept trying to fill the space in the conversation, and I was like, wait, I could just let it chill for a second, and then maybe one of us will have a really cool idea of like, oh, like I was just thinking about this. You know what I mean?
Right. I totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that translates a lot into life, you know, where we try to fill up the empty space with different things. And a lot of times I catch myself doing that. But just taking that second for yourself, just mentally, physically, just to breathe, I can see how that'd be greatly beneficial in life, in a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was teaching me about my aura, which I haven't spent much time thinking about.
Oh.
Um, he did this exercise with me. It was really cool. He's like, okay, imagine that your aura that's around you, like your energy
Mm-hmm.
field, imagine like just bringing it in. So it's not like scattered all over the place. Like center yourself, come back and notice that your body's like here in the room, and really ground in, be present and notice, and kind of just balance yourself out, like be aware of where you are right now, which for me that's been a big thing for mental health in general. When we get lost in our thoughts and start imagining things that aren't actually real or happening, that can really lead to a bunch of problems. So
Right.
a great practice that I found is just getting back into the room that I'm in, and not like stuck in my head. Just come back to this room and be like, okay, I'm here. I'm just hanging out in Charleston, talking to Kelsey on Zoom, not like somewhere else.
Right. And I guess that just kind of reminds me. So I have this condition in my brain called synesthesia, and it's where your senses are kind of mixed together. So, like, my sense of colors and emotions or personalities are very much intertwined. And, speaking about auras kind of reminds me of that. Like, when I feel different emotions or when I feel like I'm scattered all over the place, you know, there's like different colors that I associate that with. I feel like there's ways that I can control that and just get in touch with that more. But right now, just even thinking about it and discovering it and learning more about how my brain processes different things. It's, I don't know. The brain is a very interesting place to me.
So many interesting things going on in the brain. I haven't heard about synesthesia before. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really cool. Yeah, colors. Yeah, there's definitely. I've been paying more attention to choosing what clothes I wear depending on how I feel. Like I haven't given that much thought
Right.
so far, but recently, I guess as I've embarked on my own creative journey, and I'm making a lot more decisions for myself, um, it's like, oh, I really want to own this, and maybe it's whatever color. Right now, I guess it looks like I'm owning blue. Which right before this, I was working on a little music video from home, and I was switching shirts for each different scene I'm making. I have a yellow shirt and a blue shirt and a purple shirt. So some Blue's Clue stuff. I don't know what's going on over here. But what a crazy thing. What a crazy thing. It sure is blue in the sky right now. Speaking of less pollution.
Yes. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Can you go outside a good bit from where you're at right now? During this time, you've just been hanging out inside, but you can still go outside. You said you drive around a little bit.
Yes. Fortunately, Greenville is pretty lenient as long as you stay away from people and, they encourage masks. But Greenville is a very chill area, which I greatly appreciate during these times.
Yeah.
And I think everybody understands the seriousness of the situation, but also that sometimes you need to go outside to take care of yourself. Even just getting some vitamin D from the sun, or even just like sometimes I'll go outside with my friends, but we'll be a car's length, so we'll park our cars next to each other and hang out like that. And even though we can't really be right next to each other, it's still that sense of having people with you.
Yep. And during this time, that's so valuable. I mean, I'm getting used to it in a sense, but I've been in this apartment more or less since it's been about 2 months, I think, which is crazy. And like halfway through that, maybe a month ago, I was really feeling that, like, man, I miss people. Like going to a coffee shop. What a blessing it is to go to a coffee shop. Like that right now, going to a coffee shop sounds like going to Disneyland. Like that sounds amazing.
Right.
But soon enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting used to it. We're adjusting, and it's so cool to see all the creativity and the ways we can communicate still. I can't even imagine this time if there wasn't internet. Imagine
I
how
know.
confused people would be.
That would be strange.
We'd like knock on neighbors' doors. Do you know what's going on? I don't know what's going on.
Maybe they would have to start, getting mail pigeons like back in ye olden days.
Harry
Like
Potter. What is Harry Potter it?
the owls.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Which I feel like something like that will maybe end up happening with drones. Maybe. Like drones just flying in and delivering paper and just vroom, vroom. Like, here's your letter from grandma.
They're already starting to do that with packages, I believe, from like Amazon, different multi-million-dollar companies.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy. So going into senior year, wow. Going into senior year. How do you approach that? Have you thought about it much, or just going with the flow right now, finishing up 1 year at a time?
Honestly, I'm probably the most excited I've ever been for senior year, because this is the first year that I've gotten to pick all of my classes for exactly what I want. I'm going to be taking pharmacology next year, which is kind of preface for my major. I guess here lately I've really been thinking about what am I going to do with my future? And, out of the things that I can control, what do I enjoy? What do I see myself doing one day? Even huge decisions like, where am I going to go to college? Because that's coming up very, very soon, that I have to start thinking about applications. But just thinking about, I had the freedom to completely choose all of my classes, and I'm going to be turning into an adult very soon. And I guess just even thinking about my journey of going through school from elementary school to middle school to high school now, and it's been it's been a journey. And I feel like I've grown and I've learned even more than just what you can learn in books. Of course, I've learned a lot about the mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell. But
Yep.
learning more about people my age and about culture and about, I don't know, the little things that you get from school that I'm missing, but excited to get back to.
Yeah, it's a special thing. It really is. I mean, it's like you only do it once. And if it is a rough go, there's a reason for it. Back to really the beginning of this combo. It might not make sense at the time, but wow, that's so awesome. I'm so glad that you're excited for senior year. Wow, I love senior year. I kept it simple. It's beautiful. Didn't have many friends, just simple, so lovely. And then the whole college thing, I just believe that you kind of end up exactly where you're meant to, even though it might in moments become chaotic for some people of like, oh my gosh, I have more than one of this application to do and this person needs this and that. But it's like, you're going to end up exactly where you're going to end up. And you can make the most of it wherever you do decide to go, wherever you want to go. Like, it doesn't really matter, I think, because you just make the most of wherever you are. And if you're making the most of wherever you are, then there you go. You're on your way.
Right. I guess. Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, you're good.
Can't read this because it's so small, but I was partnering with a friend of mine who is a chiropractor, and she said she would donate her services in exchange for people donating money to the Children's Miracle Network for me. So she gave free massages, or donated massages, but it's been crazy.
Wow. That's beautiful. So I'm trying to think, what else is happening today? Any plans for the rest of today?
Honestly, just trying to refresh my mind and body for the next week, because Fridays they're my downtime. Like, during the school year, Friday was the only day that I didn't have anything planned, which I know sounds crazy because, Friday's the day that everyone goes out and, hangs out. But I I'm the type of person that loves doing everything. And I used to fill up all my time with dance and violin and hours upon hours of studying and school and crazy, crazy stuff. But, Friday is kind of my day to take some downtime, just do the little things for myself, even if it's just petting my dog and like playing with her for a couple minutes, or I do that anyway, but
No,
what I mean? Like spending that extra time and, doing a face mask or reaching out to someone I haven't talked to in a while.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, it's just so important to just take that 1 second, to take that one day to just forget everything that happened that week, whether good or bad or whatever. Just settle back in and refresh the mind.
I support that. No further comment. Yeah, I mean, the hustle and bustle of the week. It's crazy. I've known myself to work a lot. Like I always have known myself to be busy, occupying my time with something where it's hard for me to relax or have nothing to do. And that's something I'm way more aware of now. 'Cause it's just so crucial because I know that if I don't take those necessary times to completely check out and relax and be super, super, super present to doing like nothing or just something simple, like just sit down on the couch and not have your phone. Like imagine that. Just chill. And that's so crucial because if I don't give myself personally that time, just wait like 3 months because maybe you'll get sick and your body will be like, okay, now you have to chill. And that's so
Right.
real. Um, Now, I get it because some people are in school or have jobs or things and they have to push through and really make it through a certain chapter, a month, whatever it is. But if you have the opportunity to relax and unwind and chill, man, you got to plan for those. Otherwise, you just keep on working maybe and not get swept away into problems, sickness, whatever it is. And then the body will be like,
Right.
chill. And on a collective scale, the earth perhaps is now saying, all right, everybody chill. Just chill inside for a little bit.
Honestly.
Let the air breathe. Let things heal. Let the birds come back to your backyard. And what a cool thing.
Like, I don't know if you've been keeping tabs on other parts of the world, but I've been looking at, there was a stream in Italy that has been dirty and mucky and nasty for years, and now it flows with perfect, clean, fresh water. And sometimes, it seems selfish to say, well, I'm almost glad that we've had um, this coronavirus to come and, to let the earth replenish itself.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I feel like it's brought us a double-sided coin.
Mm.
On one side, of course, I feel for everyone who has lost their life to it or has lost a loved one to it. And it's something that's very real and very contagious, especially at this point. But on the other side, there's also things that have been able to flourish because we've had time away from factories or airplanes even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautifully said. Like it's wild. Like it's that just seems to be like I guess how it works almost. Like catastrophe could be the rebirth moment for even though there are so much troubles and challenges going on for many, many, many people, there are a bunch of hidden blessings and silver linings and opportunities really for people and the earth as a whole to come back even stronger through a challenge. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. You said that. I'm vibing with that. So true. Mm-hmm.
I guess here recently I've been on almost like an awakening with everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like just realizing, yes, there's a lot of bad in the world, but there's also a lot of good things that happen as well. So I guess right now it's important to my health to remember that there's also good things in the world.
Mm.
That the world isn't just out to get me,
Right.
Because sometimes it feels that way.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I totally relate to you. Growing up, I really believed the world was super innocent, just as I was. And only good things happen, and yada yada. And then as tragedies or challenges or things happen to me, or happen for me, I realized there are challenges and there's real struggle in moments or pain, and that's unavoidable sometimes. And it is that balance of accepting that all kinds of things can happen, and maybe we're just here to experience them and to notice them and have that perspective of like there are, there's variety, and there must be a reason for it, right? Like especially during this time, I'm sure it'll be wild to look back on this time and just think of all the change that has been sparked from like this month or two that we're in right now. Mm.
I've been contemplating with my friends about, I wonder what, people, maybe 30 years, maybe 100 years from now will think about everything that's happened. I'm sure this will be in textbooks and people will study it, and the key word will probably be social distancing, and
Mm-hmm.
just thinking about people beyond us are going to remember what happened to us and learn about it and study it, just like we study things like the Civil War.
And now we have color video and all kinds of cool stuff to capture.
That's true. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, 30 or 100 years in the future, will color video seem like something that's not that advanced?
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, I guess we'll see for ourselves if when the time comes. Virtual. I'm just imagining like how virtual things will be. Like this
Right.
conversation in 30 years, I'm sure will be like just I don't even know, like maybe a virtual thing. I have a headset on and we're like literally in a virtual coffee shop or something, you know?
Right. That's what I
And
was
it's like,
thinking.
you
Like,
remember Kelsey 30 years ago when we used a laptop to chat over long distance, but now we just go into our virtual headset because everyone has a virtual headset now, and we just pick a coffee shop online
oh, that's true.
and just like meet up virtually.
Yeah.
I don't know if that maybe it'll happen.
That would be, I think that's pretty likely. I mean, I think a lot about holograms that, you see
Yeah.
on the sci-fi movies like Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites, by the way.
I haven't
But just
watched Star
thinking
Trek
about,
really, which is crazy.
oh my gosh, you have to. It's one of my favorite movie slash series slash trilogies. It's got so much backstory and plot to it. It's very, very well done.
Word. Thank you for planting that seed. I'll keep my eyes peeled for it. It's an option to dive in. But anyways, um, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with the whole virtual thing. But for now, man, I'm grateful for all the technology we have now. It's pretty miraculous.
Right.
I can't make any of this stuff. I was just thinking a minute ago, like someone designed the irrigation systems that bring water to this apartment. I don't know how to do that. Someone knows how to
Mm-hmm.
do that. That's so amazing. Crazy. Like electricity, like all these things that I personally don't know how to do, and someone knows how to do that. It's like, wow, humans are so cool.
I agree. And that for me just goes back to that tapestry. Like, someone had to connect the wires in my lamp, or someone had to watch my chair being manufactured, or even just thinking about somebody had to design and build the neighborhood that I live in. And, you know, even if we don't realize it, we're all connected.
Yep. Yeah. Gratitude just is flooding all my thoughts right now. It's like there's so much to be grateful for, really. And what a good reminder. Um, if there is anything you'd want to remind your future self, what do you think that might be? If your future self in like a year or 30 years or whatever it is were to like zoom back to this time, say this is actually recording, which I think it is. What do you think, like a little tidbit of advice would you might want to share to remind yourself of, like, I don't know, I'm not sure what would come to mind. Something you're learning maybe or have learned, a lesson, something to remind yourself.
I think I would have to remind myself that sometimes you need to do things for yourself, whether that's living in the moment or whether that's thinking about the future, whether that's, you know, maybe doing that one thing or doing more than one thing. You know, it's okay, and you don't have to feel like you're being selfish, because I find that I often do so much for my friends, or, you know, I try to do a lot of stuff around the house nowadays, or, you know, just trying to do so much for other people that I forget about myself. And just thinking about, it's not selfish to want to be healthy physically and mentally.
Beautiful. What a beautiful reminder. I struggle with that same thing and have before, of uh, not knowing maybe how to take care of myself in ways. And the irony is that gets me, that snaps me out of it, is like, wait a second. I love to be helpful for people and do all these things and create things and lift people's spirits. And I actually can't do that if I'm not taking care of myself. So it's has to be me first in order to be helpful. It's like, to be helpful, you have to help yourself. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I can't just go drain myself out, because that's actually not helpful to the people I want to help or me. So it's a lose-lose versus a win-win. So yeah, it's like you got to be selfish to be selfless, it seems like.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You think we should transition to the next part of the day?
I think that we kind of had a very nice a closure to our thoughts and our feelings in that little, just one little reminder to ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd feel called to share, or anything else that comes to mind other than whoop whoop hooray?
Hmm.
I'm working on my silence, if you can't tell.
I've been trying to think about that too during this conversation.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great practice. I mean, we're doing it. We're practicing, and this has been so lovely to connect. Like, obviously, I don't think either of us really knew what we'd be talking about. We're just kind of flowing. But
Right.
it's so great. Like, I really think these kind of conversations are the some of the most memorable things. at least for me in my life, like I'm so grateful to have just a conversation like this, and the fact that we have the technology to do it regardless of any worldly circumstances, it seems. What an opportunity. It's like, wow, this has been here. This is here for anybody if they wish to kind of dive into something like this. Like, oh, you can call somebody up and just learn, and just human connection anytime you want.
Right.
It's
And I
beautiful.
guess the last thought I'd like to, just put out there is I feel like I've taken just vibing with people for granted. And here recently, having, that lack of human interaction has really gotten me to be so thankful for even just thinking about school. Like, I was in school for 7 hours a day and I was like, oh, I wish I could go home. And now I'm like thinking about all the beautiful memories that I've made with people there, and maybe even just the fun times or funny things that happen, and just not taking anything for granted, because I don't know, it almost seems like you never truly know how good you have something until it's gone.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, Kelsey, this has been really nice, honestly. I'm so excited to like chew on some of these things, and what stands out to me for sure is there's a reason for it all. And I'm so grateful we got to connect. What a cool thing.
I'm glad that I was able to reach out and, we were able to do this.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out. For real, it's so cool. Like, I love it. We'd love to circle back and chat some more. And I mean, we're both so interested, I think, in helping spread the word on something like mental health, which is so prevalent, as you pointed out. And
Right.
yeah, just having these conversations, whether public or private, is helpful for everybody, I think. So I'm sending you a big virtual hug from Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah, have a lovely rest of the day, and
And
we'll
thank
circle back and
you.
talk soon.
I agree. We should definitely schedule another meeting sometime soon.
Yeah. Perhaps a real coffee shop or a virtual one, whatever one comes first.
Hopefully, things will simmer down and we'll be able to go out and not be in risk of hurting anyone.
Yeah, for real. Well, I'm sending you some love, and tell the fam I said hello, and the pups and the dogs, whoever else is around, the birds out back. And
Of
yeah,
course.
we'll talk soon. This has been great.
And I am trying to send you some major good vibes, and I hope that you also get good things coming your way very soon.
Thank you. I'm gonna go right outside. That's where I'm headed. Get some fresh air.
Right outside to listen to the birds.
Yeah, that's right. Cool.
But yeah,
All right, well.
thank you so much.
Silence. All right, peace.
Bye.